You see, contests don't attract everybody, but they do attract some really important people. They attract ratings respondents, ratings types. Ratings types are unique people. They're willing to do things specifically for an incentive. They're active respondents. They take action to get a benefit, and as a result, they're your most valuable listeners. So let's find out a little bit more about these people, and I'll give you some information that I've learned through some research, starting with a project that Alan Burns and Associates did, where they studied a group of radio listeners that they solicited through radio station, their client databases, and they found that 31% of all the respondents had tried to win a radio contest in the past year. Now that may seem high to you at first, and 31% is high, but remember that this survey was conducted online and a lot of those respondents were from the station databases. But here's the key thing. In addition to that, they also asked a question about whether these respondents would participate in a ratings survey. And they found that of ratings respondents, 50%, half of them, had tried to win in the past year. Now, that's pretty dramatic. To put it in other terms, 62% more likely, ratings respondents are 62% more likely to play contests than non-ratings respondents. And if you want to go one step even further, in a separate study, Mark Kassoff found that these respondents can be influenced. He found that 15% of all contest players would listen to a station they don't even like to win a prize that they were attracted to. So it's proven that contest players are ratings participants, and you might know them by another name. Prize pigs. Prize pigs are special people. If we can identify them and incentivize them and communicate with them on a regular basis, you can improve your contesting results and your ratings results, and you can do it dramatically. Let's look at some of the science of this. Out of all the radio listeners, according to Burns, 31% are candidates to play. So let's put the 31% on this grid. That represents the number of radio listeners that are likely to play. But as we talked about, that number does sound high. And just because those who are participating in that research are more active than others, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's cut that down in half, just over half. Let's make it 16%. That sounds fair. So 16% represents the percentage of the market that is willing to play if we come up with an offer that appeals to them. But ratings don't happen overall. You need ratings to happen minute by minute. You need multiple quarter hours, not just an occasional quarter hour. So it's not realistic to expect that 16% of the market is available to play at any time your contest is going on. So let's see what's realistic. In a typical day, we know from rating studies that about 25% of the ratings meters in a market are active on any given day. So let's take our 16% of the market that is available to play and willing to play, and let's take 25% of those and divide that by 4. So now we have 4 out of 100. Just 4% of the total audience that can be influenced today by a promotion. Now 4%, isn't that an interesting number? I've always heard that the number of people who are willing to play in a radio contest ranges somewhere between about 2% and 5%. And there you are at your 4%, right in that range. Now, keep that 4% in mind. We're going to come back to that in just a minute. To increase the ratings, we don't have to get everybody to listen to us, and we don't even have to get people to switch from another radio station to listen to us. We need to increase the overall listening that's coming from those who are contest players. So the goal of your contest should be to increase the overall radio listening from those who are willing to play for an incentive. And here's what that looks like in the real world. Now, this is a real market. We're going to plug in a real-life ratings example. This market is 3 million people. And in this market of 3 million people, there are 1,200 ratings respondents in the ratings cycle. But all 1,200 meters aren't active every day. In fact, on any given day, we know that about 25% of those meters are actually turned on. That means only 258 persons today are deciding the ratings. By the way, that's less than 0.1% of the market's population that's deciding the market's ratings. But that's a different topic. And at any given time, between 6 a.m. and 7 p.m., Monday through Friday, any given time during that time, only 15% of the 258 meters are turned on. That means that at any given time right now, 41 meters are listening to radio in the market to decide the ratings. 41 meters. Now, in this market, if a station can score a 4.8 share, they'll be in the top 3 every single time. So right now, there's 41 active meters. How many do you need to be a top 3 station in this market? You need a 4.8. That means you need 2 active meters out of 41 at any given time. Now, remember the 4%. I told you to remember 4%. Let's bring the 4% back. If we can influence 4% of the 258 meters to come to the radio, to any radio station, we'll add 10 meters to the listening pool. Now, we can't expect that we're going to get all of the increase in meters coming to our station, but what if we can just get 2 of those meters to come to our station? If we can get 2 meters, we'll go from 2 out of 41 to 4 out of 51, and our share now becomes a 7.8. It's a gain of 3 shares, or a 62% increase in our ratings. Now, if we can get 4 of those 10 people to come to our station, the 2 out of 41 becomes 6 out of 51, and we'll have an 11.7, a gain of 6.9, a gain of 143%. What if we got half of them? 2 out of 41 would now become 7 out of 51, and that's a 13.7, a gain of 8.9 shares, or 185%. Sounds like a magic trick, doesn't it? Now go ask your general manager what a ratings point is worth in your market. In this particular market, it's worth about $800,000 per year. So now how much are contests worth? Contests are worth a lot if you have the right strategy and you're successful. And the key, of course, is to use the right bait. How are we going to find and attract these players? And how are we going to do it consistently? And how are we going to continue to incentivize them to keep coming back over and over and over again?